Ode to Aptera, the most efficient vehicle on the planet. Aptera cruising, wingless flight. I love Aptera, it feels so right. Glides down the highway, taking off from the sun. No more drilling.
Hello friends, new and old. My name is Rich Rodriguez and welcome to my Aptera journey. This channel is about the thrill of the all-wheel drive Aptera on a twisting, curving mountain road, and the rush of adrenaline with sub 4-second acceleration time, and the pleasure of charging your car from the sun, and on some models, the confidence of up to 1,000 miles of range. But we don't have an Aptera yet. Despite that, there are some things I would like to share with you today. First, though, a little about me. I'm a trained electrical engineer, so I understand how EVs work. I'm an EV owner with over 150,000 miles of experience, so I get range and charging. I have an MBA in finance, and I have been mentored by an investment banker in venture finance. In my day job, I read and analyze financial statements every day. So what attracts me to the Aptera? The awesome styling? Yes. Is it the sub 4-second 0 to 60 acceleration time? Yes. Is it the solar charging? Yes, though I live in the rainy Northwest. Or is it Aptera's amazing efficiency? For me, it's all about efficiency. Because with Aptera's efficiency, all those other things are possible. Well, with the preliminaries done, today's video will have 3 parts. Part 1, current financial market conditions. This matters for when Aptera does their IPO. Part 2, interview with Aptera, including Chris Anthony and Chris McCammon. Part 3, Aptera financing and that pesky single windshield wiper. First, a huge shout out to Nikki and Kate at Transport Evolved. We were driving from Seattle to Portland and stopped for a charge and walked over to a Starbucks for a break. I looked up from my coffee, or was it a phone, and noticed a Ford Lightning backing into a parking stall. Well, who came into the Starbucks? In walked Nikki Gordon Bloomfield and Kate Walton Elliott, presenters on the YouTube channel Transport Evolved. It was a lovely encounter, and Nikki and Kate were so welcoming and gracious. If you're not familiar with the Transport Evolved channel, I encourage you to check it out. There you will find an abundance of news and views about cleaner, greener, safer, and smarter transportation. It's one of my favorite channels. So let's get right to today's program. Part 1, current financial market conditions. Chris Anthony, Aptera Co-CEO, has said that Aptera would like to have an IPO around the time production starts and ramps. Financial market conditions determine how receptive the market is to an IPO and in part determines the pricing of shares. So market conditions matter. I follow the 20 bond municipal index to see where interest rates are heading. I look at market conditions every week. The 20 bond has dropped from a recent high of 4.12% to today's 3.34%. That is a dramatic drop. Just remember, though, the Fed has not changed rates at all. The Fed has simply indicated that they are at the top of the current interest rate cycle. The recent declines that we are seeing is simply market expectations of a future rate cut by the Fed. At the most recent Fed meeting, the signaling was that rates won't likely be lowered until after their next meeting in March. So that puts us at the beginning of May for a possible first cut in rates by the Fed. Meanwhile, the economy shows more signs of crumbling. Another New York bank, New York Community Bancorp, seems to be teetering on the edge. This sent a $560 billion warning through bank stocks from New York to Tokyo. What is the $560 billion warning? That's the amount of commercial buildings that need to be refinanced by the end of 2025. We know the pandemic hit the commercial real estate market with substantially lower vacancy rates and lower valuations. And with interest rates still so high and vacancies so low, we're about to see the default train leave the station. I think it's going to get a bit bumpy from here. With rates still so high, it's not a good time to go public, but it's a great time to start and grow a sustainable-oriented startup like Aptera Motors as a long-term investment in the future. Part 2. Interviews from Aptera, including Aptera Co-CEO Chris Anthony and Chris McCammon. I happened to know that Bill of the YouTube channel Chasing Aptera, linked below, was going to San Diego and Aptera headquarters for the Electric Vehicle Association annual meeting. I had a Zoom call with Bill and we talked about Aptera and his experience in San Diego. Be looking for that video interview soon. So I asked Bill if he would take some questions to Aptera for me and perhaps take some video. Sure enough, he did. First, Bill asked Aptera Co-CEO Chris Anthony a question I had about financing. So let's watch that video.
I'll use it on mine too.
What's up, Rich?
This is his question, and I don't know what it means, so you'll... he has a financial background. Have you considered syndicating the Regulation D offering?
We have, and we're talking with some banks right now about doing that. The great thing about doing a Reg D accredited offering is it keeps it kind of off the books of the Regulation A offering. The Regulation A offering is for basically anybody to invest in an amazing idea like ours. But the Regulation D, you need to be accredited, you need to have $2 million in the bank or make more than $600,000 a year as a couple and $300,000 a year as an individual, I think. But it's a more limited audience for the accredited offerings, and the SEC says, okay, you've got a lot of money, so you know how to use your money. So, we're talking about that as we speak, and I think we're having a lot of positive movement in some areas. Hopefully, be able to sign a debt deal pretty soon, and then work on those other investment deals and get to production, have an IPO, have a big celebration, take our picture at the stock exchange. Everybody's happy. So, thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Chris Anthony, for being so open to a financial question. Now, Bill asked Chris McCammon some questions from his viewers, and some I asked Bill to pose for me. So let's watch that question and answer video.
So you're the perfect person to ask this.
Yes.
Open pilot.
Okay.
Any time frames? Do we know how soon after the launch edition comes out?
So what we're obviously focusing all our engineering resources on the launch edition, but after that, we're going to make a small Tiger team that makes the hardware for Open Pilot. And we have the connector up there, so it's all pre-ready to go, even on the earliest vehicles. So I would guess it'd probably be another quarter or so after the vehicle comes out that we'd have an official Aptera Open Pilot integration. But in the meantime, it's right to repair. You can just hook up a off-the-shelf comma device pretty soon after delivery, and it would work. So.
Oh, that's great. Someone on the channel asked if they had a bulky item to transport.
Yeah.
Could you drive it with the back hatch open?
Sure.
You lose some aerodynamics.
Yeah, you'll get a little you get a little warning that's like trunk open,
Yeah,
but you can drive it absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about is there a schedule for when the crash testing will be done and completed?
Yeah, it's tough to say because we're still waiting on the body and the frame from Italy. So, once those come back, we have to start making our first PI vehicles. Once those are complete, then the next phase of the first 3 are basically not crash. They're other important systems, like more important range and things like that. I think the second 3 are crash. So it's hard to give a timeline until we kind of know what we're working with their timeline. So.
Yes. You've never been asked these questions before, right?
I've actually never been asked either of those before in that
Really?
way. Yeah, so those are great.
So there's a Aptera ambassador named Rich Rodriguez.
I love Rich Rodriguez.
And we became pen pals, I guess.
Oh, cute.
Because I created a channel called, I originally named my channel My Aptera Odyssey.
Yeah.
And he has one called My Aptera Journey.
Yes. Yeah.
And he did not like the fact that I picked the name I picked,
Oh
so
my
I
gosh.
agreed to change it. And
That's funny.
We became friends after that.
Oh, cute.
And so we had a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah, we'll see if I'm the person to
See if
answer.
So the steering system,
Mhm.
you've got motors in each of the wheels.
Yeah.
So how does the steering system work?
So it's power steering. It's a mechanical linkage, so it's very traditional, like a normal vehicle where you have the push rod that tilts the wheels in either direction. So there's really nothing abnormal about the steering system. It's just like any other car. It's not like a drive-by-wire or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And the cooling system. Can you talk a little bit about the design of the cooling system?
We're gonna be doing some videos on the cooling system in the probably next month or so. I was talking with the thermal engineer the other day actually about it. It's pretty unique. It's a little different than what we've shown before. We've had to make a lot of packaging differences to make sure it fits in the very small body, but I think people will like it. Yeah,
Okay.
you'll see that soon.
Okay. I don't think you can really address this, but he wanted to talk to somebody about the infotainment
Yeah.
system design.
I can talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen the real one.
Oh, is it finalized?
It's pretty close. Yeah, like what we showed on the video, what we have upstairs is it's maybe on the video is like 70% of the design. We probably at like 95 or something like that. It's really something else, and it's designed by a really good designer who designs other big EV infotainment systems.
Okay.
To put it that way. So we really have like the best of the best working on it. It's pretty cool. Dark mode only. Everything is really easy to access, and we're hoping for eventual integration of your plugging your phone in and having things show up on the screen. So that's it's nice that it's all software upgradable. But yeah, we'll show the final one I'm sure at some point soon.
So windshield wiper coverage.
Yeah.
Will it cover the whole windshield or?
Well, there's one, and it kind of sweeps like this, so it's not the end of the world. The passenger probably won't get a full coverage, but it's enough coverage to have great, great visibility for the driver.
90%, 80%.
I don't know how to give a percent with it, but you can see it. It's only one wiper and it goes that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I know some people want more visibility for the passenger side, but to add a two wiper approach made it extremely complicated, and it's really tough to package because there's so much stuff jammed in the nose. So there's a lot of struggles in that area. How to package everything.
All right. I don't know. Manufacturing aspects of production.
I don't know. CPC is doing some great work over there. I'm sure we'll show more of it soon. That's what I'd say on that.
And so so until open pilot,
Yeah,
what is there any kind of cruise control?
it'll be just like a basic cruise control.
Basic cruise
Yeah.
control. So it's not like you're totally driving
Right.
without any kind of.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, you still have the ultrasonic sensors for parking. You still have the backup cameras, so it's easy to navigate at low speed. You know, like you still have some of that.
Again, thank you, Bill, for asking those questions. I will talk about Aptera's windshield wiper coverage again later in part 3 of today's video. These videos from Bill are insightful, and even if only by video, it was good to see both Chris's once again. Part 3, Aptera financing, and yes, that pesky windshield wiper coverage. First, I want to remind my viewers about a financing option for Aptera that I presented in an earlier video some months ago. Let's watch that clip. In their Reg D private placement, it went from $2 million to $20 million. So I suspect that we're going to see a big initiative here in getting that private placement fully subscribed. And here's how I think that might play out. We should be looking for a private placement offering underwritten by a company like. So I was really heartened to hear Chris Anthony say in the video that Bill took that Aptera is talking with investment bankers now about a possible syndicated Reg D offering. I thought this was a positive development. I was, though, a bit concerned when Chris Anthony talked about a debt offering. In an emerging growth company, free cash flow from operations is difficult to come by. It took Tesla many years after production to achieve this. You certainly don't want debt service payments coming before your cash flow is positive from operations. So any possible debt deal for Aptera at this time should be in the form of venture debt. Venture debt often comes with stock purchase warrants granted to the lender, or perhaps convertible debt. Well done, Chris Anthony, in considering a syndicated Reg D offering and, presumably, venture debt. Before we leave the topic of finance, I would like to return to the amount of capital needed to enter production in the near term. If it takes $2 to $3 billion to build a factory, and as Chris Anthony has stated, it takes 1/10 of the capital to build an Aptera versus a traditional car, and I agree, then Aptera needs to raise another $100 to $200 million. This is for inventory, warranty, service support, working capital, and so on. While some of this may come from an IPO, there is still some serious fundraising that lays ahead. Is a Series C stock offering round just around the corner? The last item I want to touch on today is that pesky windshield wiper. You heard Chris McCammon say earlier, the passenger probably won't get full coverage. And I know some people want visibility for the passenger side. Yeah. Did you notice Chris hedged on providing a percentage of windshield wiper coverage? Did you know a surprising number of cars have 3 windshield wipers? Also, a surprising number of cars today have electronically synchronized wipers. This eliminates the need to have a mechanical connecting arm between the wipers. In fact, the EV I drive today has a 2-wiper motor synchronized system. So my challenge to the Aptera team, fix the windshield wiper coverage. It's doable and it matters. That's about it for today's show. And remember, I have a link in the show notes and a QR code up here where you can save 30% off your Aptera $100 refundable pre-order deposit. For every 10 referrals I receive, I'll pick a random viewer comment and send that winner a small gift. So if you haven't reserved your Aptera car yet, consider doing so using my referral code. And thank you. Well, that's all I have for today's show. I look forward to sharing time with you again soon and to reading your comments below. Until then, stay well, do good work, and charge on.
Cruising, wingless flight. I love Aptera, it feels so right. The future is now. Protect Mother Earth. Keep her healthy for what it's worth. What's your pleasure, lunar or solar? Let's save the planet, we're on a roll. Glides down the highway, taking off from the sun. No more drilling, can't you see? We're done. Aptera, join the fight.